Assalamu alaikum guys, so Dawada, welcome to another episode of Unta Ma'an. Inshallah, today we will be making a simple cake recipe. It's a pound cake, one of my favorites. So inshallah, let's get started. So first we need to preheat our oven to 350. And then from there, we are going to grease our pan. So here you need to make sure your pan is well greased because that'll definitely help the cake come out a lot easier. So go ahead and grease that pan. And from there, we are going to sprinkle a little bit of flour all over the pan. This again just helps the process of removing the cake a lot easier. So that's what we're looking for. So just put that pan to the side and remove any excess flour as well. So we will get started with making our batter. So here I'm using half a cup of butter shortening. You definitely don't need to use butter shortening, but I find it just makes the cake so much more moist, and definitely something you guys should try. As well as 1 cup of salted butter. Here I'm using salted butter, but definitely, you know, they always recommend using unsalted, but I really don't see the difference. So that's 1.5 cups of butter and 2 cups of sugar. So just pour all that sugar in there and mix. It's gonna get all fluffy eventually. All right. So the consistency we're looking for is just very, you know, creamy. That's the consistency we're looking for. It needs to be like nice and creamy and nice and fluffy. And once we get that texture, inshallah, shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes of mixing to get that. And then once we have that, we're going to add 5 eggs. Definitely no less than 4, but I always say to add 5. That's what I'm doing here in this recipe. We're going to be adding the eggs one at a time and just mixing it in till all that yellow part is not visible. And we're going to do that for all 5 eggs. You don't want to overmix for sure. So definitely this, like I said, this process should not take you more than 15 minutes to make this batter. And then throwing in the oven is just like I said, super simple, and I'm all about simplicity when it comes to cooking at least. And here we're going to add our baking powder. So here I'm going to be using 1 teaspoon. I find people use a lot of baking powder in their baking. I'm not sure why when it comes to baking a cake, but 1 teaspoon is more than enough. And 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. That's going to give us some flavor. And then we're just going to mix all that together before we turn the hand mixer on, and then just blend it for just a few seconds, no more than 5 seconds. And then we're going to go ahead and add our flour. Here I have 3 cups of flour. Definitely swift your flour, as they say, because you don't want to have, you know, chunks of pieces of dough in there. And 1 cup of lukewarm of milk. So mix all that together before you turn the hand mixer on, because you don't want all that flour to splatter all over the place and, you know, you get your counter and everywhere all dirty. That's just more work there. Okay, so that's the texture we're looking for. Nice and creamy. Perfect. Make sure you get it that way. And then now we're going to go ahead and put our batter in the pan. So once we have all that in the pan, we're just going to put it in the oven for, like I said, our preheated oven of 350 for 60 minutes. And just to make sure it's ready, just put a okay, perfect. There we go. So try to get all that air bubble out, and then put it in the oven, and bam, 60 minutes later, that's what we're looking for. That's how long it took me. Again, it does depend on your oven. So we're just gonna put that aside and let it cool while we make our icing. So this is definitely optional. You do not have to have icing, but obviously your girl's trying to be extra here. The cake is still just as good without the icing on there. So here I have half a cup of icing sugar, just a splash of vanilla extract, not too much, and 1 tablespoon of milk. So we're just going to put the milk on there. And go ahead and whisk, whisk, whisk. And there we go. That's what we're looking for. That's the consistency we want our mixture to be. And this is the moment of truth. This moment, oh my goodness, always makes me super, super nervous because you never know, because you don't want, you know, cake pieces to stick to the pan. It just does not look cute. So go ahead and try to hit the sides there to help the cake come out a lot more smoother. Say Bismillah and just lift that cake and see how it turns out. There we go. The suspense is killing me right now, actually. All right, so go ahead. MashaAllah. Look at it. It looks so shiny. MashaAllah. So there we go. So we're going to go ahead and put our icing on there. Make sure your cake is cool all the way. You don't want to have, you know, a hot cake and put the icing. Just doesn't really look so good. And then we're going to cut a piece and see how it tastes. Trust me, you guys, it just tastes amazing. Like I said, this recipe is literally so simple to make. It is one of my favorite types of cakes to make because it's so easy and doesn't really take much of an effort to make. So here I'm just gonna cut a piece, show you guys how it is. It's just so moist. There we go. Oh my god, mashallah, and it tastes delicious. So I hope you guys actually make this recipe. Let me know how it turns out for you. I know it's going to turn out great if you follow the recipe, and leave a comment below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this recipe, as well as I have an Instagram that I just set up, which is Maan647. Go ahead and follow me on there as well, and I definitely post a lot of pictures on there with new recipes. And for those who are not subscribed, definitely subscribe and enjoy. Assalamu alaikum.